Hey guys, Kimber Wright here. Just about to start issue 27, but I wanted to show you this. This is so cool. Now, I love the detail that all of the items have in the doll's house. I think it's absolutely swell and absolutely gorgeous. But there are moments where I want to do my own improvements because to me, it's not quite right, but it's difficult for me to explain why it's wrong because obviously I'm not the one who made it. And it's to do with this chair here. This is, I had to look it up to work out what it was, but this is Beast's own chair. Now this is the chair that he sits in when Belle's looking after his arm. And it kind of, maybe because by the time this has happened, it's before they start actually tidying up the castle, so I could imagine this looking really nice after Beast and Belle start getting along. But I still love it's felted as well, which is just absolutely gorgeous. But look at the detail in it. But I'm so tempted to see if it's possible to dye this slightly a darker brown to sort of show the kind of neglect that I think by the time this chair is seen in the film is highlighted. But I'll understand, but I'm also tempted to leave it as it is because it's just so cool. It's such a cool little detail that makes it so cool, and I love it. I think it's so brilliant. But talking of Beast, this is, I had to look this up as well. This is, I can't remember what it's called. 1 second. A toilet bowl. Which doesn't sound cool when you announce what it is by the toilet bowl. But this is the bowl that Belle uses. And this is actually the cloth. So it would go in like this. I think I need to bend it and mould it inside the cloth. Inside this area here, which shouldn't take, there we go, shouldn't take a while. But this is the cloth and the bowl that Belle uses. So if the Beast is sitting here, that would be where his paw is. And Belle would pick this up and fight to fight the Beast to let her help him with his injury. And this is where you see Mrs. Potts dumping the water from herself into here, which is just, it's just a fantastic film. It's got so many moments, but I do still want to darken this a little bit to show the little bit of neglect, but I'm also tempted to just leave it. So we'll move these out the way and I'll show you. There's my camera. I didn't realize my camera was in shot. So this is what we did last issue with the door, still waiting for it to dry. And we've got this bit here. It keeps falling off, so I've kept this one separate, but this will go onto the top of this bit here, and then this bit is going to go in this section here. Now before anyone asks, I haven't figured out how to record this bit yet, so this is going to be quite interesting. So in this issue we're going to be installing this door. So this is going to be the base of the door, the bottom bit that goes in this area here. These are going to be the two sidelines, so I've got to make sure that this bit is in the Frozen section and this bit is in Mickey's section, which shouldn't be too hard. Still haven't done that bit there, which I still need to do. And then this is the decorative bit on top of the door. I love the rose. I think the flower, I think it's so cool. And this will be on Mickey's side. But we're also making a start on the basement, which I'll be totally honest with you, might mean that I'll have to move this to its new location first before I even think about making a start on this. I might make a start on this and then move the doll's house. I haven't decided yet. But we've got the base for, I think, the bottom part of this room. I need to run the duster along that. And then you've got these little bits here. Now I'm going to be studying the instructions very carefully because I imagine this is going to be pause, pause, pause video as I do it. But first we're going to wait for this to finish drying. It just looks so cool. So cool, and I love it. But we're going to wait for this to dry, and then we're going to make a start on this. So catch you guys a little later. Okay, so this is probably maybe a little bit close to the best angle I can have to showing you what today's mission is going to do. Starting with number one, putting this bit on. But there's a little problem being that this is in the way. And I do want to kind of move it a bit forward because it's got to go in this particular area here, which you can't quite see from this area. I mean, my hand's going to be in the way anyway, but I've discovered a little magic trick, and I'm so happy I haven't actually started gluing the walls in yet, because look what I can do. So let's bring you a little bit forward. And we'll begin in a moment. I'll just finish preparing and we'll... Okay, I think I understand what I'm supposed to do. I think. Okay. So I'm just going to wait for that to dry a little bit, and then we're going to make a start on the next section. Okay, that's probably about as level as I'm going to get that. So now I've got to focus and concentrate. So what we're going to do is somehow we're going to put the next bits in, which are these bits here. As far as I know, you need to put double glue in there. So I'm gonna do this off screen because I need to focus and concentrate. But I'm basically, actually maybe I can try and do it on the screen, but I'm mainly just dabbing as much glue as I can on this bit here, which is what is going to be focus on. Let me just get rid of where some glue's got on the edge here. And according to the instructions, all I've got to do is put this bit flush on there, and then in theory, as always, theory never works with me. Is that flush? Is that why it's not sitting properly? I don't want to push it too hard. This is the problem. Ah, I pushed it up. Let me just double check it's working. Right, so that's actually solid on there, which might actually be good news. Bad news is it might affect me putting this on. Might also help with the gluing bit on this one. Okay, let's do it. So we've got to repeat it on the other side. So glue on this bit here. You might not see me doing much gluing, particularly the big bits, because it's going to be majorly difficult for me to focus. Okay, and stick. It's not pushing that up, which is good news. Oh, bit of glue got on the wallpaper, but never mind. Right. Right, I think that's right. That looks okay. That doesn't look like there's anything wrong with it. All depends on when I do the door, on whether it's wrong. Okay, well, it doesn't say that I've got to glue this pin on. It does say I've got to try and put this on, which, as you can see, constantly kept falling off. It's very, very loose. That's because I haven't glued it on. But somehow, can I cheekily try and insert a bit in the hole first? This is where I find that this is in the wrong place. Okay, so I do need, this is going to be awkward, because I do need this bit in this position first. Okay, and that's should go underneath like that. And then here's how it's going to be glued on. And here is where it's going to be hilarious. Because I've got to, if I open it, can I risk opening it a little bit wider? Maybe. And it's got to just go on this bit here, not on the door itself. I think it's okay to put it on the top bit as well, but not on the door, because that, it is boiling hot today. And then on top by closing the door. Except the door won't close. Oh dear. Right, as you could see, finally managed to get the door in. I'm being very careful because in the process of trying to get this door in, I had to remove this wall a few times, so the wallpaper's got slightly damaged. And it did take a little while to get it actually in, but we finally managed to get it in. And even better, the door came apart. So the reason I've got this door currently lying open, it does sort of fit. It's still a little bit kind of knock, 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 but it's a lot more flush than it once was, and it's also damaged, so I've had to glue this edge on a few times. In the process, this handle came off, so this handle has had to go back on. But by the time it had fallen off, I'd already managed to put it in. So I'm now waiting for this door to dry, but luckily we don't have to touch this anymore, but we do need to pop into Mickey's section. I think I'll use the excuse Goofy's been at it again. Goofy's been at my doll's house similarly when he built this wall, which is why this wallpaper, which is also coming off, I think it's the heat. The heat is just making this glue not stick properly. But the next stage, which I'm going to hopefully not blind you guys, sorry, is we're going to stick a little bit onto, oops, let me get the wall, onto this panel here. There's a little hole, and hopefully if we get this right, this, in case you're wondering what the masking tape's for, this also came loose, so I'll put some more glue on here, and hopefully this is going to stick this time. Everything was just falling apart. I think I definitely need to replace my glue. But my next stage is to take this bit, put some glue on the edge of this nozzle here, and then very carefully find one tiny little hole, stick it on like so. And if this works well, we now have our first little bit of a struggle, and we'll find out how badly this door is when eventually it dries. I am going to have to replace my glue, but we now have celebration time. Our first inner door! Woohoo! That took a little while. So I'm now going to set up for this bit, which is our first bit of the basement. I'm going to do this bit, and then I need to find a home for this bit. But first I'm going to put this wall back before I break it. But we are now, once this door dries and stays together, possibly with wood glue, which I do have, but I need to find, we are finally going to be able to work on the basement, which will go underneath this floor. And we are going to move this at some point. So this is going to be my workbench, and then this is going to have a new home somewhere else. So let's have a little look at what we need to do. But first, I need to do some tidying up. Okay. Okay, so this one is going to take a little bit of time because I'm going to be looking at the instructions while I'm doing this, because you have to be very, very careful with them. So I've currently got beam A, and if I'm reading these instructions correctly, we only glue a little bit on this side and all along this bit here, including at the end, but not on the nozzles here. So let's grab my glue. I'll use the same glue for now, but I think I'm going to have to do some DIY of my own. So a little bit of glue along here, and then along here, when did this glue get so difficult? Excuse me guys. might need some more glue. And again, sorry I had to pause while doing the door, but if something doesn't make sense, it really frustrates me. And I don't like swearing on my channel, so I chose not to swear. Okay, if I'm reading this right... Yeah, if I'm reading this right, it needs to go along... Which explains why this bit here wasn't glued. Okay, let me double check that. Yeah, that looks about right. Okay, so that's through that bit there, which looks pretty good. It's lying flush with no gaps. Okay, so this is nice and flush. Apply a thin layer of glue onto mark B, which will be this panel right here, and check that the beam is lying blah blah blah. It is. Might have a little bit of a gap, but it's fine. Apply a thin layer of wood glue in the tabbed edge of beam 2. Okay, so if I'm holding the beam like this, we do... Whoops. Along this bit here. Three-quarters, so I think up to about here. Along there. Into this bit here. I think that's about right. It's not meant to go all the way across. And then it's about halfway down this section here. So that should be relatively enough glue. And then it goes, so we turn this round, like so. And it goes yeah. So let me move this slightly. This edge here goes, and the glue makes a lot more sense now, because the only two nozzles are these two nozzles here. The rest is going straight through. So if you put the glue in wrong, it's... Let me try putting this side in first. I had to stretch this a little bit because for some reason, I don't know if this has also become warped, like I had with the door where it was warped, but that's... Get rid of the glue on the edge. That's pretty much all right, and warping it, moving it slightly doesn't seem to have damaged this section here, apart from lift it up a little bit. But we've got, yeah, we seem to have timed it perfectly. We got this bit into here. Now the next section, which is section D, which is slightly smaller, I need to turn it... If I have it so that the D is facing me, I need to do halfway along this... Is it halfway? Okay, a little bit along here, and all along this section here, leaving these nozzles here. So let me grab my glue. So along here, and along here. Along here. And then I reckon about halfway along here. And that is all the glue we need for this section here. A little bit along there. There we go. And this section goes... I'm going to turn this... So the glue section is along here, and it goes into these three nozzles here. And if I've done it right, it should fit perfectly. Like so. Don't worry about this bit is meant to be here. I need tissue or something to get rid of this excess glue. But that looks pretty good. That looks pretty good. I'm happy with that. Just want to check I've done B right. Yeah, it was definitely that end bit. Now there's meant to be no gap, but there's a tiny gap, as always with my one, because my one makes no sense whatsoever. or might have been warped slightly. There's a tiny little gap along here. Hopefully that can get fixed later. Okay, so we're going to put this bit aside. I'm going to bring this bit in and this tiny one here, which is E, and it's basically halfway down here. Okay, and that goes, yep, that goes in these two sections here. And it's definitely letters facing down, isn't it? Letter side, yeah. And that goes flush along there. Right, and then we're going to remove this bit again, bring this bit back, and we're going to be going back to this section here. I think we're going to glue this bit on, and we need no, we got that bit. So we need these two nozzles to go against this section here, and then I think the idea is this bit will go under there onto this bit here, which is how it's going to hold. And we are definitely going to glue this one together, unlike how I did with the house. I do plan on gluing the walls at some point, but I have plans for some of the walls. And as you saw, it was actually effective not having the walls glued on. What am I doing? So, by the letter section. Yeah, so just halfway. Yeah, so basically around this bit here and about halfway along here. Ignoring this one, putting glue halfway either side of this hole, and then just slightly past this bit and halfway along this bit here. Constantly looking at the instructions just to make sure I'm doing it right. So let's draw a line, glue that bit. So I need loads of glue on. We'll go halfway just to be sure, like that, and then we go halfway in this direction and halfway in this direction, and then slightly past this section here. Can't see the glue because I'm a little bit bright because for some reason my lights aren't working properly, which is why I want to move to the office as soon as possible because I have perfect light currently in the office, not on this bit here. But that's got the glue where it needs to be. And then we take, yep, so if this is facing towards me, we have to make sure that this bit here is connected to this panel here. So this is nice and flush. And then hold that down while it glues. So it's got letter side down and it's nicely, as far as I can tell, might have gone a little bit too far forward on one of them, which I can easily just scrape off. Smear off with some tape. But that's glued on, like, let me move the engine, like so. Probably useful. Turn it round. So all of the beams are currently at the bottom. And also making sure that none of them have any problems. The glue's gone a little bit wrong there, but that's fine. And the final bit, we take this bit back, turn it round so it's got this panel at the bottom, and we're basically going to glue this bit onto there. And like I said, we are going to glue. So all we need to glue, hold on. This bit along here, and then just along this line here, just along this section, oh, and along this section here. Do I need to put anything heavy on it? Don't think so. But basically, now we just wait for this bit to dry. I'm going to get some tissue and wipe it down, because it might dry clear or it might dry a bit messy. Don't think anyone's going to see this, so no one's going to really matter that there's smear marks or glue marks everywhere. But all we've got to do now is wait for that to dry. Now, as you can see, sorry, didn't mean to blind you guys. As you can see, this has started to dry. a little bit, but what I'm gonna do in the next issue is give you an update on this door and how it is. I apologise, my lights are really bad, and how this is, because I need to wait for this panel to dry before I attempt. There's still a slight resistance there, so it's not closing as flush. It may be I'll have to file this down a little bit, but we'll see. And we've done the basement, or started the basement, which is pretty good. So next issue, I'll give you an update on how this has gone. I'll show you where this is now living, and we'll take it from there. So I'll see you in issue 28, when we'll be continuing to work on the basement. Till then, catch you guys later.